Okay, it is recording. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing very, very well. Happy Tuesday, or whatever day and time it is for you right now. This is session number 7 for. Is it number 7? It might be number 8, actually. I might have just not updated the number here. It's 7 or 8, one of the two, for teaching foreign languages. It's I'm really enjoying this series here. It's been a lot of fun for me, and yeah, let's dive right in. So today we're going to be talking about using Google Docs for notes. Now, I will stress that this is probably at least how should I say this? The stuff that we cover today is definitely more adult oriented. I will show a couple of things that might be good for kids as well, but definitely the stuff that we cover today is way more oriented towards adults. The other thing worth mentioning is that in a classroom setting, like if you're watching this and you're teaching in a classroom setting, like in an actual school board, you might have to pick and choose what things are relevant, what things aren't. Where this is really ideal, what we're going to go through today is basically for either private classes or even small group classes. Could be both online or in person, to be honest. Could kind of go either way, but especially online, especially. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this PowerPoint today. We're actually gonna go through. I'm actually going to share my screen on the internet, and we're going to look at a couple internet screens and not this PowerPoint very much today. So basically, the plan is to first go through what Google Docs is. We're going to talk about how to use it for this purpose of teaching foreign languages. And then for the vast majority of you who are watching this online, feel free to message me on any major social media platform. It's at Polyglot Azren. You're welcome to message me if you have any particular questions or things you'd like me to elaborate on further. And yeah, without further ado, let me stop sharing this PowerPoint because we don't really need it for today, to be honest. So let me stop that. Whoa, that's weird. I think it just froze on such a strange screen. There we go. That's better. Okay, let me share a different tab here. Okay. So momentarily, you'll be able to see my screen. There we go. So this is what a Google Doc looks like. If you're very, very new to Google Docs and you haven't used it before, basically it works very similar to a Word document. The difference is that Google Docs are online. So you can share this document with another student and they can see everything that you have written. So for example, let's type in a title up here at the top. I usually name it the student's name and the language they're learning. For instance, I might say Sarah, I don't know, Johnson, French, for instance. There we have Sarah Johnson, French. Now what you can even do is if you want to send this to Sarah Johnson, you literally go into this top right corner, click share. You type in their email address. So for example, if this was Sarah Johnson's email address, I could just send it to Sarah like that. You click send, and then Sarah is able to see the document. You can even change the permissions. So for students, I usually leave them as editors 99.9% of the time. If I'm ever using Google Docs for kids, I might put them as a viewer in case the kids decide to delete stuff or, they get rid of things in the document that I didn't want them to get rid of. But generally speaking, I just leave it as an editor. And that way they're able to actually go in and edit the document themselves. So in a Google Doc, when you type stuff, this will instantly show up on the other person's screen as well. So if I've shared this document with Sarah Johnson, assuming she has an internet connection, she's immediately going to see all this pop up on her computer as well. So it's a great, easy way to share notes. So you don't have to email Word documents back and forth. It's just always here. The way Google Docs works as well is there's always a link to the Google document. So this URL, I'm pretty sure on the screen, you guys can see let me see here. You can't see the URL part of the screen, unfortunately, but the URL, the website of this page, when you have that link, you always click the same link to access the notes. I've met a lot of students, or a lot of people even, who just don't understand that it's the same link every time. It's the same link every time. So this is kind of what I will typically use for a lot of my adult students, especially when it's online. Yeah, so that's a very quick overview. Now, Google Docs has something on the left-hand side. I'll show you here. It's called a document outline. Right now, I'll show you how I did that again. So again, right now we see nothing. On the left-hand side, you're going to see a little square with some lines and dots in it. You click that, and it opens up a document outline, which currently is empty, but I'll show you in a moment how it works and why I'm a huge fan of this. As a teacher, when you're using Google Docs, my huge preference is to use it on a computer. A lot of people nowadays, when they take classes or they're using devices, they don't use a computer. They tend to use tablets or phones. I would highly recommend, from the teaching perspective, that you use a computer, because it's a heck of a lot easier on a computer to switch the windows that you are sharing. So for example, let's say today this is our class. I'm teaching a class. Here's our Google Doc. I'm typing our notes. Oh, there we go. Typing our notes. We're typing all this stuff, right? And then I want to show you something else. It's super quick for me to literally go in. It's super fast on a computer for me to, boom, share a different tab. And then immediately, boom, go back to this page. It's really, really, really easy to do so. It's super simple. On an iPad or a phone or a tablet, things like that, it's not as easy to do that. And also, while I'm switching through all these different tabs and switching screens and sharing different things, I can still see the student. I can still see you very, very clearly as I do all of that. Assuming you're using a platform such as Zoom or even Google Meet to teach classes, most video conferencing softwares, it's really easy to do that. On a phone or an iPad, tablet, way more complex. So I highly recommend you use a computer when you're teaching the class, or minimally, you use the Google Doc on a computer, and then you have a second device where you are, like a tablet or a phone or whatnot, where you're teaching the class, but the computer is what you use for the notes, right? It's just way faster and simpler, to be honest. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to Google Docs. Now let's go through how this kind of works. One of the most important things to look at for Google Docs is this little drop-down menu here. So by default, it says normal text. So when you go to normal text, you're gonna get a lot of different options here. The main ones you're gonna use are title, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and then of course you're gonna use normal text as well. Normal text is just, oops, did I click something? Oh no, I didn't. Normal text is just what it sounds like, just normal text. Now, the other ones you're also gonna use. So let me show you what's gonna happen here. Let's just put a random title. Let's put a title. In fact, to even save some time, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just copy paste one of my other students' notes into this file here. I'll just copy paste. I've got a couple prepared in advance. So let me just put someone's in here. So let's put in, for instance, let's put in, for instance, this one here. Okay. So copy and paste. Okay. Okay, let's go back up. This is just a template. So at the top, notice here, the Spanish. If you look at the style, see where it says styles? It says heading 1. So basically heading 1 is going to create a heading automatically on this left-hand side. Anything that is like, for example, this is a heading 2. If we zoom in just a bit, I've changed this to heading 2. That becomes a subcategory of heading 1. If I want to make another subcategory, I can even make another one here. I could put a title. So blah, blah, blah. Boom. Now we have blah, blah, blah. Under blah, 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 we have Spanish. Subcategories of Spanish are these other headings. And technically speaking, I could actually create a heading 3 if I wanted to. I could say, let's make a heading 3 here. Heading 3, blah, 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 blah. Now we get a subcategory under this heading here. So what happens with these Google Doc files is as you're having your classes and you're writing notes, this is going to get really long really quick, and it's difficult to find information. So when you have these headings, it's easy to find what you're looking for. If you're like, oh, I learned that word 2 weeks ago to say cow in Spanish. Let me go to the vocabulary section. You click to vocab, and boom, it automatically takes you there. So let me show you another example of this. Let me just delete all of this for a sec. Let's delete that. I'm going to copy paste another example so you can see what I mean. So if we look at, for instance, let me put this one here. Let's put, I don't want to share her home. Actually, I suppose I can share this here. Copy, there we go. So let's put this person's in. Okay. So for instance here, right, this is another example how you might structure it. This is a title. So that's going to be kind of the title of the document, I suppose. Right, we have a heading here, which is a heading 2. To be honest, should be a heading 1, actually. Heading 1. Right, and then we should make this heading 1 as well. These should all be heading 1s, to be honest. My preference. Regardless, not the most important thing in the world. Heading 1. Heading 1. And then heading 1. Right? So now let's say they're trying to find like a vocabulary point or something. They can very quickly click to vocabulary and start to scroll through and see kind of like what they're looking for. Does that make sense? So these headings are super important, long story short. They're super, super important. I use them all the time. And again, this is only 3 pages long, but it's not uncommon to have a document that's 70 pages, 40 pages, 25 pages, 50 pages long. And so it's really helpful to have those headings. I'll show you one final example, then we'll move on to something else. Maybe you have a longer document that I have. Perhaps I can show you this one here. Let's show you this one. How long is this? Yeah, this one's 14. Here we go. I've got one here that is 38 pages. I mean, it's super long. Let me just do Control A, copy. I'll be honest, this one's not the most organized document in the world. This is a note file for a couple of my students. Not the most organized one in the world. It could be better, but it gives you an idea of what it might look like. So if you look over here, 39 pages. You know, let's say you're trying to figure out, from the student's perspective, they're trying to remember, oh man, how does that present tense work in French? They literally look, they scroll through the headings. Oh, present tense. Click, ta-da, there's the answer they're looking for. Oh, how does the questions work in French? Let me see. Did you do questions? Ah, we did. Asking questions. Boom. There you go. There's your question asking. So let's just delete all that. So this index side here is really, really key. Okay. So now, the other thing I want to show you as well is, let me move over here. I am a fan of using, hang on one second here. I'm going to post something else. One moment. Whoops. Sorry, everybody. I just realized I don't have the document I'm looking for. So I can copy paste someone's notes in. Let's put in this person's. One moment. Okay, so let's put this, copy. There we go, copy and paste. It's loading, it'll paste in a moment. Still thinking about it. Still thinking about it. There we go, yay. Perfect, it worked. Okay. I do. So a couple things that I think are important in the note file as well, just for an organization perspective. I do have a preference that homework goes at the very bottom of the document. That way it's just easy to find. Otherwise, if you type in homework, if I were to type one homework assignment here, from the student's perspective, that is, let me go back and show you. Right, so the student here has done some of their homework, and this is where they've typed their homework below. So that's a useful thing. It's just easier to be able to locate it. I like the top stuff to be content oriented. So if they're trying to review their notes, they can review it easily. I do like to put the homework for each week right at the top so it's easy to find. So July 6th to 13th, le présent, I've given some homework here. Right, July 13th and 19th, they got homework on asking questions, right? There's homework here, etc. So yeah. The last thing, maybe one last thing I'll show you just on Google Docs. Let me show you like this here. So let's say, let's say here, let's clear this out. Let's delete a bunch of stuff here so I can show you. Okay, I don't think we need learning outcomes. I'll leave vocabulary there for a second. Let's delete the grammar. Okay, we'll leave the homework. Okay. So let's say you had the class with a student and for whatever reason, you didn't have the homework prepared in the document, right? Or you wanted, maybe you added something to the document that you didn't do together in class. And because the document is so long, you're trying to figure out, you want them to be able to specifically see and point out what you put in the document. So let's say I put in a new homework. Hi, Sarah, don't forget, I don't know, like, hi, Sarah, I came across this video after our lesson that was really relevant to what we were discussing. Please watch this video along with the rest of your homework. What you can now do is you can highlight this and notice on the right-hand side, you get this plus button. You click plus, you put a plus sign, and then you put the person's email address or their name. So let's say like we had my email here, right? I put that in, I assign it. The moment you click assign, what's going to happen is that person gets an email and it gives them a direct link to this part of the document. So when they click that email, maybe we can even do a sample. Can I think, is there an email address I can do this to that doesn't have any like personal information? No, I don't think so. Unfortunately not. But when you click assign, an email sent out to them, they can click it. It automatically takes them to this section of the document. So I'm a fan of that as well. Anything else I want to show on Google Docs that's important? Perhaps we can go through a couple of headings that I like to use. So I do change it per student. It's not an exact science, I don't think, but I can give you a few headings that I use. So let's just delete this here. That way you know what headings to have. There we go. So here's our title. For headings, I'll often use, for instance, it's really different, but here's a few general ones. I might use class structure. So that way, right up top, they can see what the structure of the class is. I'll have weekly homework. I often have a vocabulary section. Oops. I'll often put like grammar. What else do I put? I'll put homework that they have to do, like homework type below. If they have any written homework or reading homework even. Or sorry, not reading homework, I guess it would be written homework. If they have any written homework, you might type it below. There might be like a listening comp section, like listening resources. You might have reading practice maybe. You might have, what else will there be? Vocabulary, grammar, listening, reading practice. Lord, you could probably make this list forever. It could probably go forever, to be honest. Under a lot of these, there end up being subcategories. So under weekly homework, if we go to heading 2, I might have a subcategory such as, I don't know, July 16th homework. Okay, we might then have July 23rd or whatever it is. Right, then we're gonna have a normal text under there, and that's gonna outline their homework. You know, watch this video. Oops. Watch this video, blah, 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 blah. Read this article, blah, 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 blah. Whatever their homework is, right? You're gonna type it in under those smaller tabs. In vocabulary, you might also have some other subheadings, such as maybe vocabulary on specific topics. So you might have, for instance, I don't know, travel, right? Travel vocab. You might have, who knows? You might have like things in the house, etc. And underneath, you're going to have these big long lists of words, right? You're going to have, you know, oops. You're going to have like a whole list of different things, and it's going to get really long. That's going to happen. It's going to get long, and that's totally fine, right? Things in a house will have a long list, and that's okay. You know, these documents do get long, and that's fine. That's why this index is super important. So if you know you're looking, if someone is doing homework or they're reviewing and they want to find something, it's super easy just to go back and find stuff in the document. Right? Grammar, you might have subheadings. Maybe you've got like, I don't know, present tense, past tense, or like, I don't know, present tense, past tense, I don't know, passive voice. I don't know, whatever the heck you have grammar-wise. Right, listening, etc. You guys kind of get the picture. You might have some subcategories, and look how nicely organized it gets on the left-hand side. That's my favorite thing about Google Docs. And of course, all of this is automatically shared to the students/students. So I'm a big fan of Google Docs for notes. Again, as I said, more for adults. I can maybe give you, I might even have a better idea of what I do for kids later on, but I can give you one sample for what I do for kids. For kids, when I use Google Docs, I do, you know, I have used Google Docs for kids, and I do, but I'll be honest, like I need to be a little bit more, I actually need to get a little better, because I think sometimes the stuff I do for kids is not the most, when I use Google Docs, I got to be really mindful to make it kid-friendly. Sometimes the way I type and my default as I put things into the doc is more for adults. That's not ideal. So like kid stuff, maybe I'll show you one here. Yeah, and even this one, I guess I got one open here, and I don't like it, to be honest. It's not ideal for kids. I'll show you regardless. I'll show you why I've structured it the way I have structured it so far, but I'm not a huge fan. So here's kind of like the first thing for the kids. So for kids and even adults, to be honest, one thing you got to realize is kids don't read as well as adults. And heck, even a lot of adults don't read very well. So pictures are a big fan. I'm a big fan of pictures. Larger text, I'm a big fan of. You know, stuff that's important should be really front and center. Lots of pictures, right? Like I'm a big fan of that. But even here, like this is not the most kid-friendly looking page, in my opinion. I think we need some more colors. The pictures are not the most ideal pictures, to be honest. There's some issues here. I probably will, as I get better with Google Docs for kids, when I work with kids online, like, yeah, I'm gonna get better at it. Right now, I'm not the best. I've got some learning left to do myself. But I can give you a couple keys. Pictures are really key for kids. That's a big key. Big font. Even this is small to me. Like I do want it. I would want it kind of bigger, especially if they're younger kids. Yeah. Anyway, I kind of blabbered at the end about the kids stuff, but nothing super useful there. Anyway, let me stop the screen share. Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for watching this. Appreciate it. If you ever are interested in watching live, you're welcome to do so. I'll put some links in the description below, or if this is not on YouTube, I'll put it somewhere where you can find it. Every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Calgary time, so Mountain Standard Time. We always do kind of a discussion at the end for the people who do watch live, which today is just one person, which is totally fine. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Stop this recording.